Packers try to make it 6 wins and 7 tries. The Badgers try to shock the college football world. The East Central champion Golden Beavers are in Menasha for their Level 1 playoff matchup. And we give you our Friday picks. Jam-packed show for everybody. And I'm very excited to say that I am joined by Mr. Charlie Dern today, as Corey is going to be in Menasha for that big game tonight. Charlie, you ready to talk some ball today?
I'm ready to talk some ball. I'm headed to Columbus after this for that game, too, so that'll be great. But, yeah, ready to go. Last time I was on here, Badgers and Packers both won, so ready to repeat that this weekend.
Advanced analytics. When Charlie Dern is on the show, Wisconsin sports does well.
That's undefeated so far.
That's what I like to hear. I'm just pointing out, too, 4-0 Beaver Dam this year when I have a pizza at home sitting on the couch watching a game. Be flipping between your Columbus game tonight, another state ball type team we got going on there. So there's just a lot of beneficial signs here to start the show. But let's go with the Packers here. Trap game. We're going to have Jason Wilde on here shortly. I've got just like a weird feeling that everybody in the world, we have Vegas, is like needing the Jaguars to cover, needing the Jaguars to win. Why does it feel like the line's small, nobody's taking this game seriously? Where do you fall on it, at least at the start?
I'm nervous for it. Last week, or when I was on before the Cardinals game, it was a lot of the same for me. I was a little nervous about the situation the Packers were in that game, and that's the same for this week. I know everyone, and it's like a buzzword almost to call it the trap game that it is. I think it's more of a tune-up game for the Packers, tuning up for the game against the Lions. The game against the Texans last week, that wasn't a game that all three phases of the game played well. And they really need this week to be that game where they get all three phases of the game, defense, offense, special teams, playing well together as one team cogently.
Well, let's start talking a little bit about the Packers, because we now welcome back to the Damn Sports Show one of our favorite weekly contributors, Jason Wilde of Wilde and Tausch. You can hear Wilde and Tausch 9 until noon each weekday across ESPN Wisconsin and Wisconsin On Demand. Jason, thanks again for joining us. The Packers play the Jaguars on Sunday. Can we get the early prediction from you?
Well, wait, is Charlie Dern worried? I wasn't clear on that. Is he worried? Are you worried, Charlie?
I think the Jaguars keep this close. Last year when they got back from London, they blew out the Colts like 37-20. So they've done this before. Not nervous, but I think the Packers need to take this game seriously. The Jags signed up for 60.
Yeah, I can understand that. Look, their defense is not very good, right? I mean, 31st against the pass. I think 30th or 29th in scoring defense. I think this is an opportunity. You mentioned it, that they weren't good in all three phases against the Texans. Certainly offensively, there were some good moments, but they had a season low in yardage. They turned the ball over. Like, to me, this is the kind of game where if you play down to the level of your competition, you could be in trouble. I just don't think they're going to do that. This strikes me as a game where, I think they're going to get kind of things humming a little bit and feel really good about going into the Detroit game the following week.
We spoke to you guys right before the Robert Saleh news broke on Wednesday. We heard he will be working with the offense, but from everything that you've been told and heard so far, how hands-on and involved do you think the Packers want Coach Saleh to be?
That's a great question. I'm not sure, and he's gone already. He left today. We don't really know if he'll be back next week or not, how much responsibility he's got. I did think it was interesting that Jeff Hafley basically said, look, I know he's supposed to be working with the offense, but he and I have been friends for a decade. If I have a question or if he has an idea, I don't care that he's only supposed to be working with the offense. I want to hear that idea. I want his input. So they have a very long-standing relationship. They're not as close as LaFleur and Saleh. I mean, LaFleur was the best man at his wedding. But there's a closeness there, and I would expect him to share his thoughts on defense, too, even if he's supposed to be focusing on the offense.
The Packers lead the league in takeaways with 17. but it's been significantly different in Jacksonville. They only have 3 at this point. If the Packers are able to keep Jordan Love clean and Trayvon Walker away from him, can this Jaguars defense slow down the Packers offense?
I don't think so. I mean, you never say never, but when I look at the Jaguars, that they do not look like a very good defensive team to me. And I do think that they have some pretty interesting weapons offensively. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence has had his ups and downs in the last several years and in this season. They got 2 really good running backs. I was talking to Carl Brooks about that today. This Bigsby guy is a really physical runner, kind of like Joe Mixon was last week, and we saw what Joe Mixon was able to do. So it's an interesting matchup from the perspective of if the Packers, like I said, if they don't make mistakes, I don't see a real wide path to victory for the Jaguars, and they're not only coming back from London, but they were there for 2 weeks, right? Didn't they play back to back there?
Yeah.
I'd be curious how that impacts how they perform as well.
You're listening to the Damn Sports Show. We're talking with Jason Wilde of Wilde and Tausch. The pass rush has been their strongest, or had their strongest performance of the year last week. When you spoke to us Wednesday, you mentioned Rashawn Gary playing like he's capable of would be almost like a trade acquisition at the deadline. Do you get the sense that he turned a corner last week?
I think they're certainly hoping that's the case. They did a lot of different things with him. They moved him around the formations. They did what they call fire zone, replacement fire zone blitzes, where they're still only rushing 4, but they're dropping a guy out and they're bringing someone unexpected to the quarterback. We saw Xavier McKinney get a sack that way. We saw Eric Wilson get 2 sacks, one where they kind of ran the fire zone, the other one where he came on a true blitz. So what I like about Hafley is he's got a bunch of ideas, and it's not just we do what we do, this is our system, this is how we're going to run our defense, and we're going to make adjustments, but we're not going to make meaningful changes. He's not afraid to change things up, and he's also not afraid to listen to guys, and I'm guessing that at some point Rashawn Gary said, hey, maybe move around will get me away from some of the thumps from tight ends and chips from running backs. Again, his sack came on a play where the pass blocker fell down. So, it's fair to point that out. But he just felt like he was way more active and involved, and that's obviously a good thing for them defensively.
Jason, part of what kind of makes me think to be a little nervous about this game is that the Jags, when last year after playing in London, they won 7 of 8 games. This is a team, their back's against the wall. There's talks of major changes happening to the coaching staff, especially after they lost their first week in London. Do you think that there's something there with this team with their backs against the walls playing against the Packers, who are 5-2 sitting pretty with a look ahead against the Lions next week?
Yeah, I would just say the Jaguars have to play way better defensively. And obviously they can't have – they really need Trevor Lawrence to play mistake-free, which he has largely been, right? I think he's only got 3 interceptions on the season. But, it's one thing to not make mistakes, but you also need your quarterback to make plays. And he clearly has not made enough of those so far this season. Do I think they can go on a win 7 of their next 8 run here? I suppose they could, but again, I think this is a team that's trending toward hitting the reset button again, which is unfortunate because I really like Doug Peterson. I covered him as a player. I've known him for a really long time. I don't think he suddenly became a bad coach when he arrived in Jacksonville, but they have really had a hard time, and their quarterback has not made the big jumps in growth that I'm sure they would have liked to have seen from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, well, you just following up on that, you're talking about the Jaguars and their situation down there. Shad Khan had said that this was the most talented roster they ever assembled less than 6 weeks ago. Is it just feel like a team at this point that hasn't had things click together? Like, are the Packers at this point, are they still feeling focused going into this week, or does it feel like they might be looking ahead?
I don't get the sense they're looking ahead. I mean, I think they know the position they've gotten themselves in now, which is they can really have a pretty good head of steam going into that Detroit game. I mean, they've won 3 in a row. Some performances have been better than others, obviously. Look, we saw the Vikings go to L.A., and obviously they had Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp back in the mix, which makes them a vastly different offense. But the Packers weren't exactly dynamite against the Rams, even without those guys. Obviously, Love had that inexplicable pick six from the end zone as he was stumbling, bumbling, fumbling. So they didn't play great in that game. I personally don't think Arizona's any good. So, yeah, that was a nice, complete performance, but I wasn't overwhelmingly impressed with that. I thought Sunday's win was legit, and I love the fact that they won it without their offense really doing its normal part. Obviously, like I said, they had some good plays, but they turned the ball over 3 times as a team. They had the botch punt issues on return. Obviously, Love throwing 2 picks. They had 5, in addition to the interceptions, they had 5 other series that went 3 and out. So now you're up to 7 wasted series. You got 4 scoring drives that you had, and there were some certainly, again, impressive moments, but not enough of them. So I just don't think that they've hit their stride to the point where they can be looking past anybody, and I think that's the attitude inside the building as well.
You can hear more from Jason Wilde on Wilde and Tausch each weekday from 9 until noon across ESPN Wisconsin and Wisconsin On Demand. Thank you, as always, for joining us, Jason. Have a great weekend, man.
Is Corey calling a game, or is he on the Mark Tauscher, Jesse Nelson schedule?
No, yeah, he's going up to Beaver Dam at Menasha for the first-round matchup this weekend.
All right, I'm glad to hear that he's still working hard. That's important.
It absolutely is. I'll make sure we pass that along to Mr. Sparks.
All right, good. Thanks, guys. Take care. Be good.
We appreciate that, as always. Jason, always a blast to have on the line here. And are you feeling better at the end of that conversation about the game coming up this week, or you still got the trap game feels?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely feeling better. That last answer that he gave, where he senses that the Packers are treating this like it's a regular, important as any other game type of game. They're not, thinking this is going to be an easy game. Right? We got the lines that we really got to pay attention to. No, that talked me down.
Good. I'm happy it touched you down because they do have a big 5 games coming up. It'd be very, very tough. You go in 5-3, it just doesn't feel, I guess, as optimistic at this point as if you do go in 6-2. Mm-hmm. You can afford a stumble here and there in that 5-game stretch. But when we come back, the Packers are in Jacksonville. They win if. And the Badgers welcome number 3 Penn State. Drew Aller and the Nittany Lions are in town. Will the Badgers pull off the upset? We'll tell you how they do it. The Badgers win if, and this is the Damn Sports Show, so we'll have much more coming up for you guys right on the other side of this break. We are on 1430 ESPN, Beaver Dam, and Daily Dodge TV. Sitting at 5-2, the Packers are in Duval to face the Jaguars, and they try to win their 6th game in 7 tries. Charlie, I ask you this. The Packers win in Jacksonville Sunday, if what?
If they show up. And I say that meaning if they show up ready to play a team with their backs against the wall. We were just talking about it with Jason. These are teams that are on vastly different ends of the spectrum on where their season is. Packers talking Super Bowl. Well, they're not, but we are. We're talking Super Bowl with where the Packers are. The Jags are talking about blowing everything up, right? So their backs are completely against the wall. If the Packers just show up ready to play a team at facing like all that, I think we win.
The Packers are going to win Sunday if they just don't turn it over. I'm going to say 2 times because I'll allow one. You still want Jordan Love to be Jordan Love. Don't want him to kind of start playing away from his own play style. But play a clean offensive game. We've seen too many penalties all year. Turnovers, giveaways way too often. If they are able to protect the ball, if they're able to protect Jordan Love, I don't know how this team slows down the Packers offense. This feels like a Packers team that should score 30 points on Sunday. Is that crazy?
Not at all. I was at that game against the Texans. We should have blown them out.
It wasn't close.
Yeah.
No, they're like a significantly – they're playing Super Bowl quality football at this point. I know it's hard to say that in October. So much is going to change. These teams are – now all of a sudden the NFL actually pays attention to the trade deadline for, the first time ever. So things are going to be a lot different. But right now the way they're playing, there's just no excuse to walk into Jacksonville and come away with anything with the win. But if you do get a win, even if it's by 1 point, nobody cares, right? This isn't going to be like, are we coming in on Monday? The Packers win, let's say, 24-23. Is it doom and gloom? Like, wow, the Packers aren't as good as we thought? Or is it, hey, you know what? 6-2, baby. Lions coming up. Let's just focus on that.
That's where I'm at. I don't need to blow them out. I think, kind of going along with my whole narrative of their backs against the wall, I think they're going to be playing the whole game. I think they're going to be ready to play. There's a chance that if the Packers come out really hot, that they just roll over, their season's over, Peterson gets fired on Monday. We could see that. That's very possible, especially with this Packers offense. But honestly, I do think the Jags offense kind of sneaky good.
Yeah.
People, like, you think about the Jags, you hear them out loud, and you're like, they're terrible. Their offense is actually all right. They have some of the same numbers as some of the best offenses in the league. I think they'll keep it close. Packers will probably up like 10 points at the end of the game. Jags drive down late, cover the number.
One of those things, too, going what you just said about the offense with Jacksonville not looking too bad. Really, the difference between the two teams is that one has a defense that's forcing turnovers, and the other has been just run through and just been a joke this year. 3 turnovers for the Jaguars through, 7 games? My question, I guess, going back is, oh no, Charlie, we're line, falling apart on me here. I had a question. I'm going to have to come back to it.
Okay.
I'm literally falling apart at the seams. But you're a gambling man like I am. I think this is where a long circle coming back to me. To be the bad, person on your shoulder, to Jason Wilde telling you, don't worry about this game, Vegas needs Jacksonville to win. 87% of the bets are on the Packers right now. 2/3 of the money is on Green Bay right now. Vegas always seems to know. If Jacksonville does manage to keep it close, what is the recipe for that to look like? What are they doing wrong, I suppose?
It's those dumb turnovers that you're talking about. It's like last week against the Texans where we're muffing punts and we've got penalties and it's just kind of ugly. That's the way that the Jags keep it close. Their offense can move the ball and like Brian Thomas is actually really good. He's really good. Christian Kirk's really safe wide receiver too. And Tank Bigsby's really great too. I love their offense. I do. I just think if the Packers don't play strong, succinct team football, the Jags will stay in the game.
All right, well, let's hear. I guess we won't get a score from you right now, but where's the level of confidence as we go into Sunday? Are we at like an 8 with the Packers here? Is that a yeah?
I'm pretty much at like a 10 confidence on winning the game. I think the Jags keep it close. So it's like 21-17, 20-17 kind of score.
Okay, so we're still feeling good. All right, that's good. Going into a big Lions game next week. We'll transition over now to another team that's looking to potentially pull off a massive upset this weekend. The Wisconsin Badgers host Penn State, Drew Aller, James Franklin, in the number 3 ranked Nittany Lions. And you've been hearing me all week. I am a big Penn State doubter. I don't buy into this team. We saw them win a game in overtime at the Coliseum last week. I'm starting to smell something in the air. I don't know if it's just a straight-up upset, if this is like a one-possession game or what, but I'm kind of starting to drink the Kool-Aid again. I think the Badgers can win tomorrow.
I think we can. I think the number tells you that the Badgers can win this game. I think it tells you. If it was like, all right, the Badgers are going to get blown out, it would have been like 9.5, 10. When they're telling you it's inside a touchdown against USC or Penn State, the number 3 team in the country, they're telling you the Badgers have a real shot. And they moved this game. This game was a 2:30 game. They flexed it to 6:30. Make it a night game. Make it loud. Make it crazy in Madison. I can't wait for this game. I do believe in Penn State. I do. I think they're really good. I think they're going to make a little bit of a run in the playoff. Not sure what they'll do in the Big Ten tournament-wise.
Exactly. Could they win the championship or not?
I don't know, but that won't even really matter with the playoff now. I think they're really good. I think it's going to be a really close, good game. I think they might run the ball a lot. Badgers will need to as well. I can't wait for this game. I think the Badgers can do it. I think they can.
Well, yeah, Penn State has over 200 yards per game on the ground right now. So let's transition to the if. If the Badgers are going to win, what's it look like? What do they have to do on Saturday?
I think it's like any big upset. You need those intangibles isn't the right word, but you need those other elements brought into the picture to help out. So special teams plays like blocked punts, blocked kicks, kick returns. Some of those plays that don't happen a lot, those more rare plays, we need those to happen. We need calls going our way. We need explosive points, just like big plays. All those things, we need those to happen our way. It's going to take a lot. I think it can happen, but the Badgers win if a lot goes our way. A lot.
Well, speaking of some intangibles, though, Luke Fickell actually spoke about what it was like having this night game at Camp Randall. Jack, if you can cue that up for us now.
It's a night game. It's later in the day. We know they're going to create an environment that's going to be really exciting and fun. I think that's what we need to look at. Not, hey, what are these guys ranked? What do people think? And things like that. Try to, put all those things behind us and just recognize, look, this is a big game because we've had an opportunity to make it a big game. And the way that our guys have played the last few weeks make it a bigger game. Nothing else matters.
I always love when you get college coaches calling for the fans to get out to the stadium. Like, we got a special environment. We have a special opportunity to play a really good football team. And I do have to point out, I think it's hilarious that Penn State, this game gets flexed to 6:30, yet they have a big noon kickoff next week against Ohio State. So they got to be sitting there like, what do we got to do for a night game? You're going to make us play at Camp Randall? Where we know that good teams go to die at Camp Randall. As a Buckeye fan, 2010 still very prevalent in my mind. I remember being the number 1 team in the country, walk in, opening kickoff goes the other way. It's those big plays you're talking about that you need. Those, completely pendulum swinging, those, what's the goofy win meter that you see on ESPN.com now? The win probabilities. We need those staggering jumps from big Badger plays on Saturday.
This is, Fickell probably knows it. This is a real chance for him to get his first signature win as a Badger. And James Franklin, once a year, he gives you a free win. Once a year, he gives out a win. Every year he does it. This is a great chance for him to do it. It's a great chance for Fickell to get his first signature win. Amazing opportunity for the Badgers. Amazing.
I'm going to tell you this. The Badgers win this game if Penn State has to beat you through the air. Make Drew Aller throw the football. In their 6 wins this year, he's thrown between 17 and 24 passes in all but one game. The one game, that 33-30 USC game, where they made him throw it over 40 times. He completed 15 of them to his fullback. Wasn't exactly like he was throwing it downfield, and he turned it over 3 times in that game. I'm telling you, if you slow down this rush attack, averaging over 200 yards on the ground, you're talking about making Drew Aller get his first signature win. And James Franklin, where are his? We talk about signature wins. They're always great. They're always 10-2. They don't have those. These are the type of games that once a year they just inexplicably lose, and they're going to give the Badgers, if that happens, life that we did not think was even possible a month ago.
Oh, man. what that would do for the program would be so incredible. And it's a good, I mean, like you're saying, if we force Aller to pass, we have the DBs to shut that down. So that is the Badgers' recipe. I just don't know if we have the dogs to stop the 200 yards per game on the ground, but we'll see. That's what this is all about.
I have to ask you, I'm putting you on the spot right now as I'm Googling it in case you don't have it. You're a weather guy. At least last time you were telling us, hey, bad weather in this game. You want to keep an eye out. Madison, what are we looking at on Saturday night? Is it going to be a sunny or, clear night out there?
Yeah, it'll be clear night. It's
Okay.
going to be weather non-factor. Chilly, kind of perfect fall weather. I can't wait to watch that game under the lights. Oh, it's going to be incredible.
And it's not a road game. I kind of like that. It's like good weather. I don't want Braden Locke to have to go out there and get in throwing competition with Drew Aller in a monsoon. Which we don't need that. I think we're fine. So again, how about this one? We went with the confidence meter for the Packers. Where would the confidence meter go in for a win, mind you? Not that they're competing. Where's the confidence meter at that the Packers get a win on Saturday?
For a win, 5. We're
Ooh.
at 5. That's very high. Like, especially for me, I'm kind of on the more pessimistic kind of fan. 5. There's something in the air. As soon as I saw the number was 6.5, I couldn't believe it because everyone's going to be betting Penn State.
Oh, 100%.
Everyone. They're all going to be all over Penn State. Badgers are going to keep this close. 5 out of 10 confidence. Yeah, I'd say that's fine.
That's good. I think I was going to, for a win, we're just saying confidence in a win, I'd probably say a 3. Probably was higher until you said 5 there. The fact that you and I are both kind of syncing up and being like, wait a minute, this feels like upset, that scares me a little bit that we feel that way. But at the same time, we see this Badgers program, maybe not under Luke Fickell. These are the kind of games that they show up for. They get their best football. Even if they don't win, Penn State's going home bloody and battered come Saturday night.
Absolutely. And a 3 out of 10 is probably more fair on the actual probability of this. But I went to the school. I grew up in the state. 5 out of 5. 5 out of 10.
That's good. And so, again, last time we had you on, jump around. We're going to be jumping around. It's going to be fine for this one on Saturday, we're imagining.
Yeah, it'll at least be the competitive jump around where it's we're in this ball game. We need the fans on their feet and bringing it. At least it'll be one of those.
Well, Beaver Dam and Columbus football are in the playoff. Badgers hope to eventually join them. It would start with a big win against Penn State on Saturday. But Beaver Dam and Columbus both have first-round matchups on Daily Dodge TV tonight at 6:45. We'll take a deeper dive into those games on the other side of this break. We are the Dam Sports Show on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV. high school football tonight. Columbus and Beaver Dam in action on Daily Dodge TV at 6:45. You'll be able to listen to the Golden Beavers on 1430 ESPN, Beaver Dam as well. So that's interesting. You're trying to figure out where do you want to hear these games. We tell you. But Charlie, what happens if I want to figure out what channel the Packers are on? Or how about that Badgers game on Saturday night? Where am I going to go and find out?
Where to watch
Uh-oh.
has you covered. Where to watch is a new feature that you can find on ESPN.com and on the free ESPN app. Where to watch is a one-stop shop with one-click access to ESPN network streams and all other networks.
And that's what I'm telling you, too. You go up to that top right part of the screen on ESPN.com. We've all been there. Best part, I keep saying this all week, they're not just telling you the games that are on ESPN. You want to find one that's on even Food Network or CW channel, it's going to tell you if it's there, Charlie.
NFL, college football, men's and women's college hoops, the NBA, MLB, NHL, and so much more. Where to watch is available now on the ESPN app and ESPN.com.
You heard it right there. ESPN.com, top right, where to watch. It's going to set you up. You'll never have a doubt. And going into the night, flipping through your 138 different streaming services, you'll know exactly where to go. You also know where to go this night because I already mentioned Daily Dodge TV, has a couple big playoff matchups. We'll start first with Beaver Dam. Beaver Dam is traveling to Menasha. The talk all week has been the seeding. This Beaver Dam team probably seeded a little bit too low. That's just the truth. They are playing up against a Menasha team, 6-3, an established state power. What does Beaver Dam have to do to keep this magical season alive tonight, Charlie?
Stick true to who they are. I think something that, at least growing up playing football in high school, one thing that a lot of teams want to do is kind of not change their identity altogether, but play to the strengths of or play towards what they think can be, a good game plan against a different team. And they might go completely against what they did all year long just for this one matchup because it does become a matchup battle. But no, Beaver Dam has to stick to who they are, play the way that they play, and they'll be fine.
And that's interesting, too, just because these two teams are so evenly matched. They have similar kind of resumes down the stretch here. The last 3 weeks of both of their seasons, so we're talking about 6 games, 24 quarters, the teams have allowed a combined 21 points, 3 touchdowns, 24 quarters. These defenses are playing great. So to your point, Charlie, when things aren't going great early and you have to deviate or stick true to who you are, you're saying just be yourself, trust those guys up front, get Josiah Barnes the ball. Let's see Beaver Dam continue to win the battle up front.
As soon as you start changing things up, you're bringing in chaos and variability, variables, and all that into the picture. You're bringing all that into the card. What does that equal? Turnovers. In these playoff games, you can't turn the ball over. You need every single possession that you can. The winner of the turnover battle will win this game.
Yeah, and both of these teams great in the turnover differential. +7 for Beaver Dam, +6 for Menasha. We have heard Brock Lindy talk about all year. Their goal is to have 2 turnovers every game forced by that defense. They held true almost all year to that. One thing to keep in note, too, Josiah Barnes and Elijah Giggle in this game, 2 fantastic running backs. Both are going to run the ball early and often. 1,300 yards for both those guys on about the same amount of carries, 7-yard average for both. It's going to be fun to see. One thing to note, you can see up here on the screen if you are watching on YouTube or Daily Dodge TV, the Golden Beavers have a bit of an edge in the passing game, too. Menasha, a little bit more of the, hey, we're going to beat you up front. We're going to run the ball. If you take that away, Beaver Dam's got a real shot tonight. I don't know. This is kind of putting you on the spot a little, Charlie. But a game like this, what do you think is it going to take? Is it like 20 points tonight? Beaver Dam goes and gets a road win. Do you need to go a little higher than that, or do the defenses keep this low scoring?
It feels like it's going to be somewhere in the middle there, where it's kind of like each team scores 3 times, and it's about who kicked the field goal, who got the touchdown kind of deal. Similar to like the Tennessee Titans kind of game.
Ooh, I like that.
Like 17-20 kind of games. I don't think it'll be too high scoring. I think with both teams being able to run the ball pretty well, I don't know. I don't really see either team switching up and passing a lot more all of a sudden.
This is a lot like a matchup in March Madness, for instance, too. It's like the 8-9. Whoever wins this game is likely to be facing number 1 seed Kakana. That Galloping Ghost, I love that nickname.
That's
Galloping Ghost is so cool. Talk about gritty, right?
That is really cool.
but you get a very strong Beaver Dam team or a Menasha team in that second round. Hunter Vaughn this week on Tuesday said he wouldn't be surprised that the winner of this game actually upsets Kakana next week. So for me, it's going to be a lot of Eli Bryant and Jeffrey Freund. If they do slow down Josiah Barnes and the Golden Beaver rush attack, it's going to be important for them to have a couple more of those special connections that they've had all year. But we will go and look now at the Division 4 matchup between the Columbus Cardinals and the Arcadia Raiders. Soft spot for the Raiders. Gotta love that. Always see it. Arcadia is 5-4 on the year, tied for fourth in the Cooley. Only went 3-4 in their conference, but this is a strong team. It's a much better 7 that you usually would see in a spot like this. Get a load of this, Charlie. Columbus ranked second in the small school media poll this year, all year from ESPN Wisconsin. They got a 2 seed.
They got a 2 seed?
They got a 2 seed. Here's the kicker. This is where, again, WIAA is going to have people like KGB agents out after me. But this is the part that gets me again. Columbus, 2 seed, same region. The 1 seed, Aquinas. Columbus beat Aquinas earlier this year. The undefeated Columbus Cardinals are the 2 seed, while the 8-1 Aquinas team is the 1. Arcadia, coincidentally, also played Aquinas this year. They fell victim to them 55-22. Balanced team, though. Balanced team, Arcadia. What are your thoughts, at least going into this matchup here?
Well, what you just said changes a lot of this. So I'm heading there in, less than an hour. I didn't know about that 2 seed, 1 seed thing there. Now I'm kind of scared for Arcadia, more so than I was already, because now I feel like Columbus is going to come out with something to prove.
A little pissed off team.
Yeah, chip on their shoulder team. So now, they might just run the ball every single play.
And they kind of like to do that already. Again, if you're watching at home, Daily Dodge TV, or on YouTube, the rushing yards per game for Columbus, this is not a typo. 375 yards a game. That's not even video game numbers. You turn it on rookie on video games, you might not get the 375 a game. That's just what Columbus does on average.
I can't believe that number.
It's absurd. It's ridiculous. It's a team that's putting up 44.9 points a game. The only time this team scored fewer than 40 points this year was when they played that Aquinas team, got the win 20-16. Again, their reward, the 2 seed in this bracket. We love you, WIAA. Keep it hot. I will say this, too, before we wrap it up, throw it in the break, and come back for our Friday picks. I do think it's important for Columbus not to go into this game complacent. I don't think they will. You mentioned the chip on their shoulder, which probably is more of a mountain at this point. But if you do come out, this is a strong 7 in Arcadia. Again, very balanced. They throw the ball around a little bit more than most high school teams. So, just come out, take care of business. Get your starters some rest for next week. Get the people like Charlie Dern and Wally Lukashinsky in there.
Yeah, I'm assuming the crowd and students will be there and backing their boys and have the support. They have to make sure they're not sleepwalking when they get out there. That's pretty much it. If the crowd has juice, they'll have juice. They'll be fine.
I said it last week when Wisconsin went to Northwestern. Keys to victory is for Wisconsin to arrive safely.
Yeah.
If Columbus gets to the building, I have no doubt that that's going to be a team, even under first-year head coach, they have a lot of turnover. This is a team that feels focused. They seem very determined and on the right path to get that gold ball.
I'm looking forward to that game. We're like 2 hours away.
Yeah, we're close. So, again, make sure Daily Dodge TV tonight at 6:45. Either tune in for that Beaver Dam at Menasha game or Columbus hosting the Arcadia Raiders at 6:45 tonight. Coming up, our Friday picks. Do the Pirates. Wow, that would have been a disaster if they survive a trap game. Yeah. We have a lot of problems. Do the Packers, not the Pirates, survive a trap game on Sunday in Jacksonville? Do the Badgers pull off the upset against number 3 Penn State? We'll tell you on the other side of this break. This is the Dam Sports Show on 1430 ESPN, Beaver Dam, and Daily Dodge TV. is time for our Friday picks, one of my favorite parts of every week because multiple reasons. One, we get to talk shop here for about 5-6 minutes. And two, it means the weekend's here. It means that we have playoff football tonight, a big game tomorrow for the Badgers, and then hopefully not so big of a game for the Packers on Sunday. But Charlie, I guess I got to give at least a little background first. We're doing 3 games a week. We picked these. We're going to keep track of all these records. Whoever is the worst of Corey and I at the end of the year will have a punishment. We're still deliberating on what that will look like. This is where I get worried about that punishment, Charlie, because I'm 5-10 through the first, 6 weeks, 5 weeks? You are 2-1. You are in literal shouting distance of me with one show to my 5 Fridays to this point. I'm not ready to lose this battle today and have Charlie Dern come in at 5-1, and as I'm sitting there at 5-13, I'm not going to have a show.
5-10 is pretty bad.
It's not good. It's not great. I'm telling you right now, the Badgers let me down against USC. I'm not going to spoil too much. That's going to be, no, let's jump right into it. I'm taking the Badgers tomorrow. The Badgers are going to win against Penn State, so they can burn bridges with me today. If they do not win this game, this is the second time I've gone to bat. Feel like I'm putting a little bit out on the line for them, going so heavily to bat for them. I'm telling you, it's going to be close. It's going to be a tight game. I have the Badgers winning 21-20. Gonna come down to the end. Probably need a stop, or I guess a touchdown in this case to win the game. But the Badgers get it done, Charlie. Where are you coming down on this one?
I think it's very similar to the same script that you said. I think the Badgers win on a game-winning kick.
Wow, so you're going to Badgers too?
Yeah, I think that we're going to be in a position all game long to be in the game. I think we're going to be trailing for most, if not all, the game. But if they just don't put us out of the game, if they don't knock us out, we're going to hang around, we're going to fight, and then if we're in it and it's the end of the game, why not? Why not us?
Why not us? Well, yeah, Kirby
Come
Smart,
on.
where are you at right now? We need that locker room talk up here. Like, hey, nobody believes in this team. I will say Corey has it written down here. He's evil today. He's on the bad side. Heel turn Corey. Talk about pessimistic. You say that you're pessimistic. He has Penn State by 10. And all week he's been kind of doing I don't believe it. I don't see what you guys are seeing. He drilled it with the USC game. I'm just hoping that maybe this time it goes our way, Charlie.
But he didn't even get it with the USC game. The Badgers were we could have won that game.
They should have won that game.
So
you and I were high-stepping at halftime, feeling good about ourselves. Like, we drilled this, guys.
Nailed it.
We knew it was coming. We basically drew the script up. You even said to me going into that week, you're like, everything has to, go your way with these kind of upsets. And everything was turning up Badgers in that first half. And the wheels, to say they fell off. I mean, they just weren't even, bolted onto the side of the car. They were just rolling down the freeway in that second half.
the engine stopped at the light and it never came back on.
Never did. No. You
Not
just
to
sat
say,
there.
though, Badgers by 1 million this weekend.
By $1 million?
1 million.
Well, that's good. It's going to make jump around really fun for that one.
Yeah.
Well, keep an eye on that. We have two of us going Badgers. We have Corey going Penn State. How about the Packers game? It's a trap game. It's been the kind of word of the day, trap game. Packers still big, Charlie?
No.
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 But Packers close.
Yes.
Okay.
Packers outright. The Packers win this game. I think the Jags probably stay inside of the 4. I think probably. It was 4.5 for a while during the week. It was even 5 at one point. It's down to 4. I think the Jags stay within that. I don't know. It just feels like such a weird game for the Packers. Not to say that, and like Jason was telling us, they're treating it like it's business as usual. I don't know. The Jags need this so bad, and they need it against a good team. They played last week against the Pats, and they looked good. They didn't look good the week before that against Chicago. They need a good win against a good team. They're going to be playing close.
Corey has the Packers as well. I tell you, sometimes, especially when you've been around sports forever, I know that you guys listening at home understand what I'm saying too. I know I'm wrong here by being as confident as I am, because I know, we've watched enough football. It never works like this, especially in the NFL. I can't find a way in my head for this not to be the Packers by double digits. 28-16 is my call. I think that they are going to be turning the Jaguars over a couple times. I think Jordan Love still plays sharp football, maybe a turnover, but I just don't see where the stops come from. 28, I felt like I was underselling that defense. So we have Packers 28-16 here. All three of us go there. So that officially ends the dream for Charlie Dern. He cannot pass me going into next week. So thank God for that while he stay hot. Chicago is playing in Washington. Are we thinking the Bears here, or are you going left hand up? Is it Commander season?
It's entirely dependent on whether or not Jaden Daniels plays.
Absolutely.
And if he does play, it's left hand up for the Commanders. Go Commanders. They're the better team. They are.
If I told you had to pick right now without having any idea on Jaden Daniels, so it's kind of up in the air, where would you fall then? I know, and then all of a sudden that changes a lot.
I'm keeping with the Commanders.
Left hand up.
Left hand up.
Left hand up.
Marcus Mariota. Jake Hayes here at the station. Big Marcus Mariota guy. He's talked me into it.
All right, cool. Well, guess what? You're not alone because my left hand is up as well. I think the Commanders get it done, even if it's Marcus Mariota. You know what? I've kind of been maybe I'm drinking too much of the spotted cow, eating too much of the Wisconsin cheese. I'm becoming too much of a Packer right now while I'm here. But I don't see the appeal of this Bears team. It's a good defense. They haven't beat anybody either. No. We talk about that with the Packers, like go out there and beat a good team like they did last week. We haven't seen that from Chicago. So until we do, I'm kind of just dragging my feet on calling them an actual team. I'm sticking with them being a pretender right now.
Last place schedule.
Last place schedule.
Last place schedule. It's not the Bears' fault. It's not this year's team's fault that they haven't played anyone. It's last year's fault. And the year before that. And the year before that. Last place schedule. The Bears always play it. Whatever. It's all right. Now they're 4-2 though. They're good.
Corey Sparks has the Bears in this one, so at least there's going to be one opportunity, I guess two, since we have that Penn State-Wisconsin difference as well. Got to make up a little ground here, Charlie. I'm kind of losing my head. I can't keep walking around. I have a sports show here, and I'm the worst one in everything we do with sports right now. I've been ice cold, like the opposite of Taylor Swift flying around the world 180 times. Like, it's global cooling right now with me.
Well, and Corey and I weren't very good on primetime picks either. Our picks weren't great either. So,
good.
So we need to turn this thing around.
We are going to. But that is going to do it for us here at the Damn Sports Show. Make sure you keep an eye on what's going on tonight. We have a lot on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Right after this, we have the Homer Hour coming on. That's going to lead us into Friday night kickoff show at 6. And then Beaver Dam at Menasha at 6:40 on Daily Dodge TV and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Arcadia at Columbus also on Daily Dodge TV at 6:40 as well. And then, of course, we have the Friday night final tonight at 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam at 9:30. Bulls and Bucks on WBEV. But that's going to be it for us at the Damn Sports Show. Charlie, thanks so much for joining us. And how about go Badgers this weekend?
Go Badgers, go Packers.
And go Golden Beavers. We'll see you Monday.
If you can plan barbecues and weddings, you can plan to protect your